And if someone has $1 billion, they should pay an extra 1%.
So you want to each American based on their need, from each American according to their ability.
You know, talk about...
He's trying to, like, rope her into... You know who said that? Karl Marx, the communist. Do you think Joseph Stalin was a good person, Marianne?
Cliches.
I'm asking.
I think that we should have fair taxation.
Is that a statement that you agree with? I'm asking.
It's just the saddest gotcha.
You know, as a concept. But once again, that we should talk about what's
Karl
real
Marx,
in this country.
That's Karl Marx.
I told you. I told she didn't even take the bait yet. You can't do that. You can't fish hook, try to get a gotcha, and then jump the gun. You know who said that? Karl Marx. You are now on the record.
Time for the Hannity Hot Seat. If you watch Joe Biden's re-election announcement video, you may have seen something very interesting at the end. Take a look at your screen and see what it says on the bottom. Paid for by the Democratic National Committee. So the DNC is all in for Biden, and they've rigged the primary before it even starts. Remember, they're going to bypass New Hampshire, go straight to South Carolina. They're not even holding any debates, despite the fact that a majority of Democrats do not want Joe to run for a second term. But
I can totally see why Hannity wanted to bring Marianne Williamson on. I hope she does well.
Joe isn't the only one running. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently entered the race, by the way, and he's up to 19% in the polls. That's a pretty big number, I think. And
yeah, he's also an anti-vax weirdo.
Author Marianne Williamson, she ran back in 2020. If you recall, she is back in the race, and she announced her campaign before Biden did, and she did it longer than 3 minutes and didn't have to tape it. And she's asking Joe Biden to debate her. And she joins us now from Washington, D.C. tonight, the Swamp. Marianne, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I actually am going to start out in agreement with you. I think we'll disagree on other stuff. I think it would be fair for Joe Biden to debate you and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Why do you think he's not debating, and do you believe he's in a steep cognitive decline?
Well,
I'm going to really front load this question for you. So do you think that Biden is basically at home lying on the floor drooling on himself because of his mental incompetence? Again, your response.
I think in a democracy, what's important is that people have a right to see their options. I think this is an extremely important time in American history, and anyone who feels moved to run for president should have their say, and the voters should hear what they have to say, they should hear their agenda, and the voters should decide who they want to be president.
Okay, how about part two of my question? Do you believe he's in a...
I'm not going to let you forget the second part. I want to know, is he having cognitive decline? Is his brain falling out of his nose? Do you see that sometimes? Have you ever noticed the little pieces of brain matter that fall out of his nose? Answer that now.
Major cognitive decline.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not somebody who is testing his brain. I think every American citizen has to look at the president and listen to the president.
By the way, you have to know, if you're going on to Hannity's show, this is what it's going to be like. Hannity is not bringing you on because suddenly he's just had a vision and he wants to suddenly introduce brand new candidates to the scene for the betterment of democracy or anything like that. He's bringing you on specifically to do exactly what he's doing right now, which is, of course, to attack Joe Biden and use you as a prop to attack Joe Biden, unless you can flip this thing on its head.
He seemed like somebody that has the strength and stamina and is articulate to be president.
You know, I wouldn't be running if I didn't think that I was a better candidate. I think I have the energy, and certainly I have the ideas that are better.
You got to answer my
question. Because I don't. I'm not going to come.
Yeah, this is exactly it. It's like, okay, and to people working on Marianne Williamson's team, you also have to let her know this. Like, don't let her get into an ambush situation unprepared. Like, if someone's like, hey, Sean Hannity wants to interview you. Okay, so this, just by its very nature, it's being set up to go after Joe Biden, and they want to use you. So in this case, we should prepare ourselves and know that this is going to be an ambush. And you can, because I've seen it done before, right? What's his face? Christian Smalls went on to Fox News. They brought him on specifically because they wanted him to talk shit about AOC and AOC not showing up for Amazon Union events and stuff like that, and he completely flipped it on their head, where he's just like, I want to talk about what I want to talk about. If you want to have me on here, I'm here to tell you that fucking unions are based, and so should you. You know, that kind of shit. And it can be done. You can go onto Fox News on the offensive and try and flip the script on them, but just know this is what they're going to do, exactly like this. They're not here to hear about, like, well, tell us about your policies and why you think that you are the best candidate for this job. It's like, do you think that Joe Biden is so senile he doesn't know his own name? Do you think Joe Biden shits himself? Do you think he is shitting himself right now in this shot?
On Fox News and talk to you, Sean, and say something like that. I'm not going to. I think every American can decide for themselves.
But if you believe it, you would tell us, would you?
My mind doesn't go into that. I don't believe that the energy is being demonstrated that I believe will be necessary in order to take on either DeSantis or Trump in 2024. And if I did, yeah.
All right. You said that we need an economic U-turn in this country.
Yes.
What system economically do you support? I'm a capitalist. I believe in limited government, more freedom, lower taxes, and energy independence. What do you want?
All fucking lies, by the way. Yeah, limited government. By the way, we just decided amongst ourselves, us Republicans, that women shouldn't have bodily autonomy. Yeah, limited government, but that limited government is going to force you ladies to give birth. That's right. We're going to have to force you. Limited.
You know, I think our capitalist system has lost some of its soul over the last 50 years. I believe that capitalism, you know, Adam Smith, who is the main architect of free market capitalism, said that free market capitalism cannot exist outside an ethical context. I think public policy has to have ethics. So I believe that the American people, our safety, our health, and our well-being should come before short-term profits for huge corporate entities. I believe that there are other stakeholders besides just stockholders.
You're throwing out a lot of cliches. I want to dig down deep here. What do you think I want, for example? Lower taxes, more freedom, less government.
Lower taxes, more freedom. What are your thoughts on freedom? What percentage of freedom do you want, right? Is it 100%, or do you only want 62% freedom?
Bureaucracy, and I want energy independence. I want borders secure.
I want law and order.
What do you want?
Okay, so let's go with each one. The first one, take each one at a time. The first one you said was lower taxes. I want lower taxes for middle-class people. I want higher taxes for people who have huge amounts of wealth and are living at the effect of public policies. How high? I want to see a wealth tax. I think people who, first of all, I think we should, look, in 2017, we had a $2 trillion tax cut. 83 cents of every dollar went to the very richest Americans and the very
let's see
richest
how smart you are in the economy.
The middle class.
What percentage of income?
Holy shit! Wow, this is one hell of an ambush if ever there was one.
Taxes to the bottom 50% of Americans pay. What percent?
It's not about I'm not going to talk to you about the bottom middle class, the bottom half. I'm going to talk to you about the upper class, the 1%. So you asked me what I want to see. I want to see 50 million or more. I think people should pay an extra 2% in taxes. Wouldn't affect their day. And if someone has $1 billion, they should pay an extra 1%.
So you want to each American based on their need, from each American according to their ability.
You know, talk about.
He's trying to, like, rope her into. You know who said that? Karl Marx, the communist. Do you think Joseph Stalin was a good person, Marianne?
Cliches. Come on.
No, I'm asking.
I think that we should have fair taxation.
Is that a statement that you agree with? I'm asking.
It's just the saddest gotcha.
You know, as a concept. But once again, that we should talk about
way,
what's
Karl
real
Marx,
in this country.
That's Karl Marx.
I told you. I fucking told. She didn't even take the bait yet. You can't do that. You can't fish hook, try to fucking get a gotcha, and then jump the gun. You know who said that? Karl Marx. You are now on the record.
Marx's words, not mine.
Well, thank God I didn't say yes, because then you'd be calling me a Marxist.
You kind of did,
Look,
but
Sean,
You kind of did. Yeah.
I did.
I think I got a gotcha.
You didn't trap me there.
Wow. What a fucking clown show.
Would you support me in this? Do you support energy independence? And we ought not.
By the way, this kind of reminds me of, like, how a lot of right-wingers, they need you to come onto their platforms. They don't like just doing, like, you know, open debates. Let's say with a moderator, and there has to be one statement made by one person, and then the following statement is a rebuttal, opening, closing segments and statements, questions from the audience, for example. None of that shit. It's like, oh yeah, come onto the hot seat. Oh yeah, it'll be hot, baby. Wait till you see what goes down.
Be importing oil from countries that hate us and countries like Venezuela. Would you support me on
I
that?
think that I would support you that we should not be getting oil or selling arms, by the way, to countries that hate us. But I also want to see a habitable planet in 100 years. I want to see massive investments in green energy. I want to see a just transition from a dirty economy to a clean economy.
You're not really doing well either. She seems flustered. Yeah, and that's why I'm like, how did the staffers not prepare you for this? You're going on to Fox News on a show that's called The Hot Seat, and it's going to be with Hannity's crowd and everything. The whole thing is going to be an ambush. He's just going to try and get gotchas. He's not going to listen to what you have to say. If you're going on there, you have to go there knowing that because you want to weaponize this.
How much money? We're now spending over $50 billion. Every government agency is spending something on the climate alarmist religious cult. How many billions of dollars do you want to invest in it? Give me a number.
Listen, we have $858 billion right now in our military expenditure every year, and they are the largest institutional emitter of greenhouse gases. And the Congressional Budget Office, hardly a liberal organization, says that we could take out $1 trillion of that over the next decade and cut greenhouse gases.
But natural gas is a clean-burning fossil fuel.
It's in the name, right? The natural, it's natural gas. It's a clean burning fossil. What the fuck are you saying right now, Sean Hannity?
All right, I got to ask you about some of the weird stuff you've said.
Okay.
Okay, you have said your body is merely your space station from whence you beam your love to the universe. Don't just relate to the station, relate to the beams. You said everyone feels on some level like an alien in this world because we are. We come from another realm of consciousness and long from home. What the hell does that mean?
I'm sorry. I understand the applause, but is someone hollering? Is there hooting going on right now? Is whoo?
Surprised to hear you say that, because I would think that you would recognize that as a very traditional religious and spiritual perspective, that we are spirits, that God created us as spirits, and that is what we are, and we are here to love one another, and we don't feel deeply at home on a spiritual level on this planet because this world is not based on love the way it should be.
She's getting played off.
I think those words are
all right, that's a fair answer. I'm a Christian. I believe in God the Father, that God created every man, woman, and child on this earth. I believe in Jesus Christ, his son, that died and resurrected, came back from the dead.
It doesn't seem like you really understand your beliefs that much. You're trying to figure it out as you go along. I believe that, what's his name? Jesus? Yeah, Jesus. He's the son of God, and that he died, can't remember why. Died for our sins, cleansed us of our sins. I'm into that. Yeah, that's a vibe.
To save all of us from our sins. That's what I believe. So anyway, Marianne,
wow,
that was the full 7 minutes.
Thanks
Holy
for being
shit.
here. You're welcome back anytime. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey,
I'm gonna be honest. That was bad.
Just upgraded his turn.
That was really bad. That was not good. That was not a good look. That was not a good outcome. Not very happy with that appearance or special. That's unfortunate. It's pretty much the only way. And again, it's one of those things where like you have to know going on that that's what it's going to be, right? You have to know that it's going to be a fucking complete and utter circus because that's what it always fucking is. It could have been so much worse. It could have been. Honestly, it could have been, but it wasn't good. That's to say the least. And I say that as someone like I like Marianne Williamson. I think that she's closer to a lot of my beliefs than a lot of those right wingers. But yeah, you're always so uncharitable with her. I'm uncharitable with Marianne Williamson. I've had her on this show. She's been a guest on my program. I'm not one of the people who's constantly just shitting on Marianne Williamson to shit on Marianne Williamson. I can't even pronounce things right now. And ultimately, yeah, I'm not against or opposed to someone running against Biden the way some leftists are. Just like, no, you can't do this. The sanctity. This could destroy everything. I think it's not going to have an effect. I think obviously the Democratic Party is pretty much like they normally would in this situation. Republicans would do the exact same thing. They're not really going to entertain the possibility of having a full-scale other candidate appear, but like I'm also not delusional in that I think Marianne Williamson has any chance of winning either the Democratic nomination or beyond at this point, right? So yeah, I'm sorry, but I won't vote for Biden again. I'm not telling you who to vote for. If it was me and I was an American and I was in a swing state, I absolutely would. I think it would be irresponsible not to do so, with the Republicans decidedly marching towards fascism. And that's me saying that while I also hate the shit that Joe Biden does. But the right is also marching towards fascism. They're targeting women. They're targeting queer people. They're targeting people of color. It's like, it's fucking terrible. It sucks. It absolutely sucks, you know?
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojak, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.